Well, if you're just joining us, welcome, and thank you so much for being a part of this day. I'm Nicole Valegi-Sandich. I'm one of the Associate Directors of Admissions, and I have the wonderful pleasure of moderating the Student Life panel. So we have about 30 minutes. We're going to spend some time with a few of our students hearing more about how they're involved here on campus, in Golden, and the broader community. So to start out, we are going to do just some quick panel introductions. I'm going to have each student say their name, their year, their major, and where they're from. So we are going to kick that off with Kim.
All right, hi, I'm Kim. I am a junior in applied mathematics, and I am from Bakersfield, California.
Wonderful, Kim. Thank you so much. And Matthew.
Hey, my name is Matthew. I'm a junior here in mechanical engineering from Houston, Texas.
Thank you, Matthew. And last but not least, Maddie.
Hello, I'm Maddie. I'm a sophomore in materials and metallurgical engineering, and I'm from Littleton, Colorado.
Wonderful. So I know you all are involved in a ton of different activities and organizations across campus. So can each of you just briefly share maybe 4 or 5 things that you're most heavily involved with? And we are going to start with Matthew.
Yeah, so here at Mines, I'm in our marching and concert bands. I also play on our men's club lacrosse team. I'm the treasurer of the Mines Hillel group. So those are 3 of the main things I'm involved with here on campus.
Wonderful. And let's go with Maddie.
On campus, I'm involved in the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, as well as the Ballroom Dancing Club. And I also work in residence life. I'm an RA in one of the dorms here, Spruce Hall. And I also work in research for the materials and metallurgical part. So those are what I'm mostly involved in.
Thank you, Maddie. Just a few things you all are involved with. And how about you, Kim? What are a few things you're involved with?
So I am involved in the Women's Water Polo Club, and I'm also in fraternity and sorority life, specifically Pi Beta Phi. So that's what I'm most involved in.
Excellent. So can somebody start out just talking a little bit more about how you got involved in these organizations and different activities? Where did it all start? What were some great resources that you used when you first started here at Mines? Anybody want to take that one?
I can go. So for me, I really got to know everything we had on campus through Celebration of Mines. So if anyone isn't familiar, basically right at the beginning of the school year, we have all our clubs and organizations sort of line up on one of our IM fields and just have a table of how to get involved, what they are, what they do, when they meet, all that sort of stuff. So that's how I found out about the Hillel group and the club lacrosse team. So yeah.
Anyone else want to add to that? Or was Celebration of Mines the main way you found out about these different activities?
I can go next. So like the reason why I joined both of what I said today was basically because my roommates and my friends kind of just like, hey, you should come and join. And I did, and I ended up liking it, and I'm still in it. So yeah.
Another good way to like figure out what's kind of on campus is we get like a newsletter every day. It's called Daily Blast. And so it kind of gives a list of everything that's happening on campus that day. So it's a good way to see what clubs are meeting and what activities are going on, so you can check stuff out, new things every day.
Yeah, that's a great resource too. So tell us a little bit more. So were you as involved as a high school student? So was this kind of an easy transition from like a time management standpoint, coming to college and balancing all these different things? Or, you know, what was that transition like for you? And do you have any tips for those that are in high school and soon making the transition to college and getting involved in different things as a college student?
I can speak to that. I was heavily involved in high school and kind of that transition to college. I wanted to kind of do the same, but the workload is definitely different in college, so it was an adjustment for sure. I think the most important thing to remember, like when joining clubs and and balancing academics is communication, like talking to your professors and your friends and leaders of clubs and things like that. If you're having trouble and you can't make a club meeting, that's okay. Just communicate with people. So I think that is the biggest key in time management, because a lot of the times when you reach out and ask for help, you get a lot of support through that with time management skills. So communication is definitely key in learning how to balance life and work and school.
Excellent. Yeah, time management is certainly key. Kim, Matthew, anything to add to that as far as your transition from high school to college?
Just like the studying aspect, I know I had to like reorient myself from like high school to college, and not getting behind in assignments. That was like that was the biggest kind of just like adjustment period. My advice would be just like make sure that like you're on top of what this teacher assigned, so you don't fall behind, and because they won't slow down, and it's better if you're just on top of stuff. So that kind of like ties in what Maddie said to time management.
Great. Matthew, anything to add to that?
Yeah, sure. So I was like a varsity athlete in high school, so I was pretty busy with all that. But even then, pretty much no matter where you're coming from in high school, how that went for you, mine's is probably going to be harder. So you're going to have to make some adjustments anyway. Just be open to the adjustment process, because you might have to change your study habits relatively drastically. But that doesn't mean you still can't do on the clubs. You just have to sort of learn time management, like they're saying, because once you get time management down, then you can sort of balance having the fun stuff and also still doing well in all your classes.
Yeah. So let me ask you all this. Did you join anything at Mines that you never thought you would participate in from like a student life activities perspective, or maybe have done something in the community, or that you're like, I never thought I would do that, and here I am, and I've had this great opportunity at Mines to try something really new?
I can take that one first. So, I actually didn't think I would be in Greek life at all. I kind of just did it because like my roommates were doing, and they said like, "Oh, you should come and join." I was like, "Okay, I guess I'll try it out." And I ended up like really liking it, and that opened a bunch of doors about different like service activities that I could go volunteer at, and just like get me more involved in the community. And that's what I've really enjoyed too.
And Kim, can you elaborate a little bit more with Greek life? Like, what kind of community activities do you typically do with your sorority?
Okay, so we do a lot of like service projects. So this last like 2 weekends or weekend ago, we did polar plunge. So that's just raising money for children's literacy. And we just ran into the creek a couple times. That was really fun. We do volunteer work anytime around Golden. So like there was an opportunity to clean up trash around Golden like 2 years ago with Yule Grass, which is like a beer and food festival that's held in Golden. We volunteered at that, and that was really fun because you got to meet the community and just like get more involved, and you got to see a bunch of cool dogs that were around too.
Can't go wrong with cool dogs. And for the record, for those of you who don't know, so when Kim mentioned the creek, that's Clear Creek, which is just a few blocks from campus. And that water is cold. So when they're talking polar plunge, that's no joke. That is some frigid water, even in the summer. So thank you for sharing a little bit more about your Greek experience and community service. Anybody else think of anything that they never thought they'd do that they get to do at Mines?
I don't know that I never thought I would do, but I got more involved in rock climbing during my time at Mines, just because all of my friends were big into rock climbing, and there's a rock climbing gym super close. So they were like, "Hey, Maddie, you should come join us." And I was like, "Okay, sure." And so now I do that. So it's not something I would have said I would never do, but something new that I experienced while at Mines that I wasn't expecting.
And you can literally walk out your door and head up to North Table, South Table, or Mount Zion, yeah, to do some climbing, which is pretty nice. Good stuff. All right, we're going to switch gears a little bit. Want to talk about residence life. Can you each share a little bit more about kind of your residence hall experience that first year and what you enjoyed most about that? And we're going to start with Matthew.
All right. So I was in Elm Hall my freshman year, which is a community style one. So it was 3 of us sharing a room and then a bathroom down the hall. So I actually just put myself in a random room as like when I was a senior in high school, figuring out the whole process. So once you apply, you get to decide which residence hall you're in based off of how early you commit. So I was relatively early, so I'm just like, I don't want to have to try to find a roommate, so I'm just going to put myself in a random room. And then I got to meet my 2 roommates, and they were both really cool guys, so became pretty good friends. So I really appreciated that. I'm just not, having a really great roommate experience is probably my favorite part of my freshman year.
Terrific. How about Kim?
Okay, so I was in the traditional halls, Bradford. So that was really fun. So like all the girls on the floor would have like their doors open pretty much all the time. And that was just really fun because you could just like walk in, say hi, and like, hey, I need help on this homework, or just like, hey, how are you doing? And like I really enjoyed that aspect of the traditional halls. And someone was always doing something that you could like chime in on, or just like, like, or they would go to dinner every day together as a group, and that was really nice. So I really enjoyed the traditional halls there. So yeah.
You're up next, Maddie. Thank you, Kim.
I lived in Weaver Towers my first year. So Weaver is like a suite type style living. So I lived with 8 other girls, and we shared 2 bathrooms and like a living room space. I really like that because I did my freshman year during COVID, so it was kind of nice to have that like kind of built-in group of like support of girls. That it was just nice to have them kind of like close, and it's like a built-in group of friends too. We had that living room space to hang out with friends and do study groups and things like that too. So I really like that. I got to know my suite mates really well. We're still friends even now. A bunch of them are still living together. So just a good community, and we even got to know the other suites on the floor.
Excellent. And Maddie, you kind of mentioned something that's a great segue into my next question, which if anybody wants to take this, what are your accommodations like now? Are you still on campus? Are you living off campus? What does that look like? And especially in relation to just being involved on campus?
I still live on campus. I'm an RA in Spruce, so a different hall. So that's a little bit of a different situation too. But a lot of the times, even after freshman year, you'll live on some kind of on-campus housing, but I know that looks different for everyone too.
So I'm actually living in Mines Park right now. So that's a apartment complex fully owned and operated by Mines. So I really appreciate having the school as my landlord instead of trying to, work out stuff with some random member of the great Golden community, but you never know what you're gonna get. But also we have Jackson Hall, which is where I was last year. So that's a dorm that's only for sophomore students. So it's really great to just be like a 5-minute walk from campus and just still have just Mines sort of be in charge of things. I really have liked that as my sort of go-to.
Yeah, so I actually live off campus near Jackson, and it's just really nice because like if I have like a 2-hour break between classes, I can just like pop back home and then go back to campus. And so that doesn't really impede my involvement on campus too much. But I do like just like living off campus really close. But I do know a bunch of people who live in surrounding areas that do have to drive, and it doesn't seem like they're barred from in campus involvement either. So
Excellent. Another question for you all. Do you have cars? Did you feel like you needed a car this during your first year? Now, as upper class students, how does that work for you? Maybe Maddie, do you want to start that one?
Sure, yeah. So I've had a car the past 2 years that I've been here. And mostly I chose to do that just because I have like responsibilities with my family in Littleton still. So I kind of need that for transportation back and forth. But overall, I don't really think you need a car while on campus. I had a lot of friends who like freshman year at least, you don't necessarily need a car. I had a lot of friends who brought their cars but ended up not using them here just because everything's kind of close to Golden that you do. And
Kim, do you want to talk about your experience with that?
Yeah, so I would say that having a car freshman year isn't like the best idea just because like everything's really really close, like you can just walk into downtown or like go down to Safeway if you need something at the store real quick. um but like like sophomore junior years, maybe senior year, it is nice to have a car just to maybe like go to the store if you're like, or have to commute into campus. um but other than that, or like even going to hiking, having a car is really nice. But other than that, having a car isn't like the end of the world if you don't have one.
Thank you. Yeah, and we do, all students get a light rail and bus pass, so that is certainly an option for our students to head to Denver. It also goes to the airport and surrounding area. First year students are not allowed to have a car on campus. There is a little bit of a lottery system, so there's few students that do, but the vast majority do not. But you did mention, Kim, just kind of some outdoor beyond the campus activities, and we see there's a post about what are the outdoor activities like around mine. So does anybody want to take that one? What are things that you do in the general area that require a car or maybe don't require a car?
Yeah, so I know if you don't have a car and you find like-minded people that do like to do outdoorsy stuff, are more than willing to like carpool with you. So that's an outlet to get to a certain area that you want. Um, but there's like mountain biking trails, there's hiking trails, there's a ski club on campus that will find rides for you and shuttle you up to the ski areas. So there's a bunch of different avenues that you can do. And to kind of like touch on what Nicole was saying about like the RTD, freshman year, I did use the RTD pass to go all the way to the airport for, what is it? Um, wow. Sorry, Thanksgiving break. So I used that and that was really fun. It did take a couple hours, but I mean, it was free and it was really nice. And I just had to plan accordingly. But other than that, there's definitely avenues that you can take to travel certain places that you need or want to.
also know for skiing, like if you like skiing and there's not like a ski club that's going to a certain slope, we also have zip cars that are around Golden that you can like rent and take places. So a lot of the times, if you get those with a couple of friends and you go to one of the closer ski slopes, then it's not too expensive. It's like maybe $15 per person if you get 4 or 5 friends with you. So not too bad.
Matthew, anything else to add to that? Things you do outside of the campus?
Yeah, so we do have really great hiking, rock climbing, caving, all that sort of stuff really close. So like a freshman year when I didn't have a car, I went to with the caving club on a couple trips all the way down like maybe 2 hours south, and you just pay them for gas money. So you just help out when you can, and so you don't really have to have a car. But also, I even walked to like North Table one day, so it's not too bad of a walk. But even South Table is even closer, and that's a really popular hike, for especially with mine students. It only takes an hour. It's a really cool view once you get to the top too. So you don't have to go too far. And there are also paths that go. Sorry, I'm looking at it, but Lookout Mountain. So there are paths that you can like run up for that as well. So pretty cool.
Great. I just want to remind attendees, if you have questions, please feel free to put them in the Q&A section. We're happy to answer those. I'm going to throw another question to our panelists. So you all live either on campus or right here in Golden. Tell us a little bit about some of your favorite things to do right here in town and the proximity that you live to our college town of Golden. Kim, how about you start with that one?
Okay, so I would say like taking advantage of like college nights at some of the eateries downtown is like really nice. I know Woody's has their like buffet style that they've finally opened up again since COVID. Bob's Atomic Burgers, I think it's like on Tuesday or something. You get like a discount if you're a student. Just like and then going downtown just like with friends, it doesn't have to be to like go and get food. Like you can just like walk along the creek and it's really nice. Or there's like even the farmers market when it's like nicer out and not really too cold, they have in the spring and summer on Saturday mornings. That's really fun to go to. Yeah, it's just like hanging out with people and it's just so pretty too. So yeah.
Matthew, anything to add to that, or Maddie?
Oh yeah, so just talking more about the Golden community, right? Yeah, so being on campus, I like to go down to Clear Creek every once in a while. That's pretty cool. So if anyone doesn't know, it's just like a little creek that runs right down through Golden. There's actually a little bridge over it too, so that's kind of cool. So you can like rent tubes from our outdoor recreation center to go down it, and then yeah, Kim was talking about it earlier with the polar plunge. That's right. So yeah, that's a pretty cool thing. A lot of people like to come out to Golden just to try that. So that's a pretty cool part of it.
How about for you, Maddie?
I think Golden also like hosts a lot of fun, like um, I don't know how to describe them, but they'll have events and things like that that are just fun to go to as well. Like they just had a like Golden event a couple weekends ago, so you can go and join those. And a lot of times you get a sneak peek into all of the new like businesses and stuff that are starting up in Golden too. So that's cool. And you can kind of get integrated more into the Golden culture as well as the Lions.
Terrific. Well, we started talking about the campus and the community and then Golden. Let's talk about study abroad. Have any of you studied abroad? Do you know anybody that's studied abroad, or can you share out more about those experiences? Yeah, Matthew.
So I'm actually planning on going to study abroad next semester. So I'm going to be trying to go to Madrid, Spain, actually. So that I'm really looking forward to that. The great thing about study abroad is mine actually has a ton of different universities it has partners with all around the world. So one thing about studying abroad through engineering, you might be thinking it's a little hard to get your classes to transfer. Maybe some concerns about if you're actually going to get that credits and financial aid worked out. But with a lot of these universities around the world, mine has pre-approved all their classes. So I've already figured out what classes I'm going to take. So I'm going to be taking like circuits, dynamics, high-level math courses. So definitely not like, random they're classes that wouldn't directly relate to my major. And then they, of course, like have great opportunities for fun, of course, while you're there too. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, to touch on that, I know some people who went to Italy this last summer to get a 400 level social science class out of the way, and they had a really fun time there. So that was a good thing, and they found it on the Daily Blast too. So.
Yeah, Mines offers quite a few ways to study abroad. So you can do like what Kim was mentioning, more of a summer abroad where you do a couple classes. What Matthew mentioned, which is more of a semester abroad. We also have a program called our first year study abroad experience. That's actually for incoming first year students to study abroad their first semester in Antibes, France, which is pretty amazing. This is our third year offering that opportunity. They go in a cohort of about 30 and study abroad together that first semester, and then they come back to the Mines campus. So if you are a senior and you're applying and you're accepted, you will be provided that opportunity and more information if that's of interest. But my recommendation for anybody interested in studying abroad is make sure you mention that to your CASA, which is our central advising office, as soon as possible, just so they can help you kind of plan your schedule to know if you're going to take certain classes, where you could take those classes and how you can kind of work the study abroad experience into your academic experience. But I'd highly recommend it for anybody that has interest in that opportunity. So we have just a few more minutes. Let's talk about just generally, why did you choose Mines? I know two of you are coming from out of state. Maddie, you're from here in Colorado. Can you just briefly talk about why Mines? And let's start with Matthew.
Yeah, so I'm an out-of-state student from the Houston, Texas area. So the way I actually found Mines, I was just actually in Colorado with my family the summer before senior year of high school. And my mom, as we were driving through, she's like, "Oh, this is where that school is. You should go on a tour." And I'm like, "Definitely not." And then she made me, and then I actually got to be on our campus, and I really, really just sort of felt right. But even then beyond that, when I was sort of looking at different colleges, one thing I really appreciated about Mines is not having to know what you wanted to study right away. I actually applied to the school as a civil engineering major, and then switched to mechanical about the fall of my sophomore year. So I really appreciated not being locked into whatever I chose first of all, if I went to some of the other schools I was considering. And then of course, we're here in amazing Golden, Colorado. It's really hard to beat all the cool stuff we have to do here. We're just in such a great location, 20 minutes from all the naturey stuff, and then the big city as well. So yeah, it's about good for me.
Not a bad place to be. I agree. All right, Maddie, how about for you?
I heard a lot about mines like growing up because I knew I wanted to study something in STEM, but and like mines was the place to do it. So originally I was interested in mines just because of the academics, but then I did a summer program here where like I got to live on campus for a couple of weeks and work with a group of other prospective students on a project and things like that. But we also got to work with faculty members as well as like current students at Mines as our mentors. So that was really great. And I kind of just fell in love with the Mines community, which I know sounds really cheesy, but it's true. Everyone here is just so supportive and nice and great and fun to be around. And so I felt like in high school, I was one of the few people who enjoyed STEM and would love nerding out and things like that. But here it was like everyone I met kind of had the same passions as me. So it was great just to find that community of like-minded people.
Terrific. Thank you, Maddie. How about for you, Kim?
So for Mines, for me, it was I had a lot of family that came here. So like my granddad, my uncles all came to Mines. So like I was kind of like steeped in the tradition in Mines here. But another like big aspect for me was that it was a more focused study group rather than like if I went to another school, I would have to maybe apply to a different college within the university. Or like I could have been like distracted by other non-essential classes for my major that may have sounded cool, but then I'd just be like wasting my time almost if I wouldn't pursue that more rigorously. And so that's why I really chose Mines, was just because the academic rigor and just like it was a lot more focused, and I could switch my degree very easily because I had no idea what I wanted to do going in.
Terrific. Well, thank you all so much. I just want to say, yeah, really appreciate our students today talking about their experiences. I feel like we could have spent an hour talking more about all these incredible things, including traditions, which hopefully we'll get to at some point, either in this session, or we're happy to share out more information about that to all of you attending. I know that was one of the questions we didn't quite get to. But thank you for joining us. We also have our admission and financial aid session that's happening here at 12:30. So you've got about a minute to switch over to that one. Thank you again. Have a great day and let us know if you have any questions.